Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Divas of the Round Table. I am Ladybug. I have Miss Spicy Red,
Hello.
and I also have Miss Nikki Nicole. And today, our special guest, she's a 92 graduate of Andrew Jackson, a 98 graduate of UNF. She's a psychology major, and she has a minor in computer graphics. She's a certified anger management. She currently is going to school for barbering. She has 2 sons and 5 bonus kids. So she has 7 kids in all. 2 grandkids, 7 twins. And we got another set of twins on the way from the same order. So she got 2 sets twins. All right. 2017, she met Thomas Creston. She has a cooperation snack house, which is events, food trucks, games, desserts, water icy, rent out games, as well as bubble tents. And she has a Just Because events. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to you Sakina Jones. Well, Sakina Jones Grayson. My bad. Let's get the Grayson.
All right, Shakina.
All right. So I met Sakina, let's see, my baby 16, about 18 years ago.
Yes.
18 years ago, she was dating my brother, and they had a son. That's my nephew. She's the mother of my nephew, Ian Jacobin Reed Jones. Ian was born August 29, 2008. 2008. So my baby was going on 17. Now, here's the thing. We noticed some challenges about Ian, and we got him, his mother, got him tested. And from that, Ian was diagnosed with autism. So that is the reason that we're here. She is a parent of a child who has a disability, a lifelong disability, autism. Well, we're going to call it a condition because disability might make people think it's a setback, but sometimes a setback is also a comeback. So my nephew is always coming back, and he's always moving, and he's always achieving something. So Sakina, tell me, what was it like what were you noticing about Ian?
Okay, so currently I have, not currently, but biologically I have 2 kids. And the first one, I didn't have any issues. He was, he ran about, did what a normal kid, what we call normal, would do. Ian was a little different. We held him more, cuddled him, and whenever he did something, he would always go back into the fetal position.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was wrong. That was a little off. I couldn't move without some type of separation anxiety issue going on. From that point, I noticed the way he held his hand, and the more conversations I had with Mama Smith, I decided to get him tested.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, it was a blow because no one wants to be a parent that has a kid that's listed as autistic.
Mm-hmm.
But through my crying and through the trials and tribulations, I consider it a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you meet him,
Mm-hmm.
as I always tell him, your disability does not define you.
Yeah.
I'm a mom, which is also a person that has some type of disability, physical. But I think that through all of this, the blessing is that with me not allowing my disability to define me, it allows me to teach him and to understand what type of trials and tribulations he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best part. But when you see him, when you interact with him, it's so refreshing. Initially, it was a lot of challenges. We went through a lot of seizures. We went
Yes.
through a lot of issues with his hearing
Mm-hmm.
and different things of that nature. We were trying to understand him. And it was funny because he only communicated to one person at that time, and that was his older brother, Ephraim.
Mm-hmm.
Ephraim would say things like, "Mom, Ian can really talk." I said, "No, he can't. No, he can't." And come to find out, I left a recorder in the car, and he was talking to Ephraim like, "What? You got to be kidding!" And it just blew me away. And so I started to communicate with Ephraim a little bit more to find out what he was doing that I wasn't doing. So, my kids taught me how to interact with one another. And from there, we started to do different things to let Ian know that he wasn't in this by himself. When we go out, Ian would have tantrums and things of that nature. Ian would fall down. I would sit down in the middle of the mall, whatever, and I would look at him and say, "It's only you and I. Nobody else matters." And things of that nature. Or when he would run, we would run together. And I know it was kind of strange for people, but we were then afforded the opportunity to get a ABA specialist, and she came over to the house, and she told me that I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, unbeknownst to me. And from there, we grew. It was sort of weird, but it was a blessing in disguise. I was able to handpick teachers, handpick doctors based on my son's personality. And from there, myself and the circle that we created, along with Nikki, and it was so funny. We were able to help get in to where he is today. So I tell anybody, it's not a curse, it's a blessing when you have a kid on the spectrum.
Let me ask you this. You said your son Ian, he suffered from seizures, and
Yes,
what was the other thing?
He also, what was the energy with the weight?
Oh, something with his
Right.
ear.
His
Right. He
ears.
wasn't able to hear
Okay.
correctly.
So are those do you think that him having the seizures and like something going on with his head in his ear,
Mhm.
Do you think that attributed to the autism, or that it's just a by symptom of him being autistic? Because I know not all autistic children suffer from those things.
Right. I want to say that it's a byproduct.
Okay.
Autism, from my understanding, is a biological
Okay.
trait of a parent. And with that, it's a neurological situation whereby even though he has symptoms, when they're nonverbal, you don't really understand what they're going through until you fall in love with your kid, until you pay a lot of attention to your kid, until you start, better word for it, well, basically paying attention to him. When I observed him and when I asked him questions, he would do this. But I noticed that when Ephraim would ask him questions, Ephraim would describe it a certain way. He would use certain terminology. And it was so weird because I'm like, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess I wasn't saying it the way he wanted me to say it. So I had to talk to him about directional words, something simple like bring me the cup or something. He would look at you weird. And I'm like, bring me the bottle. Or I would say, bring me the pink cup. Or, I would have to describe it in greater detail.
Okay.
And he would be able to communicate better. Now he's to the point that he's not where he can be, but he's striving.
Okay.
He's actually at Westside High School now. He just became a senior upcoming year.
Okay.
And he does part-time work through the school. The year before last, he was at Joanne's Fabric. This year, he was at Goodwill. And when he graduates, he's going to be with them an additional 4 years.
Nice.
And they're going to put him through another job coaching event whereby whatever job he picks and chooses is going to be based off of what he likes.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that I do like about that particular program. But when you talk to him, if you listen to him, he would eventually let you know what he does like, if he likes you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it that way because if he doesn't like you, he'll sit there, he'll smile at you, and he act like he can't talk.
Okay.
But if he likes you, he'll talk your head off.
Mhm.
You're like, no, Ian, hold on, mom, and then, he would say something. If he gets nervous, he does little things like sits up, back and forth, go back and forth. If he gets nervous, he will. If it's a woman, I'm gonna say it this way: he would ask you for 10,000 hugs. If it's a guy, he would ask you your name, and once you say it to him, he's gonna look at you and ignore you. And so, but he's a very unique son, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Can we just backtrack a little bit? Like, I know you talk about him now. I guess he's 17 or so.
He's 17.
Okay. So let's just backtrack a little bit, like from him being a child, a baby, and the things you noticed of him, like you said, going back into the fetal position, it was things that you noticed. How was it, that process of dealing with the child? Because, some regular children, not saying that I don't want to say regular, but
Right.
children have a hard time expressing things that's wrong with them.
Right.
They're sick, or something that happens. How was it dealing with Ian being autistic and being so young? How was it as a mom? I know you probably was on pins and needles the whole time. And as parents, we're doctors. We're trying to self-diagnose. You're going to Google. You're doing all this stuff. But how was it having a infant, young toddler, young child that was autistic and just navigating through that? Can we navigate through those stages as well?
Yes, ma'am. So Ian was the difference. I want to compare the two. So Ephraim was he was everywhere. He smiled, he laughed, he joked, he was everywhere. And I started measuring the way Ian was. I'm like, wait a minute. When Ephraim was small, Ephraim would walk. Ian wouldn't walk.
Yeah, it took Ian a long time to
It
walk.
took him a long
That's
time.
why I'm a long time to walk.
Almost 2.
But once he started, it was
took off.
It was a done deal. Yeah, it took him a long time. It took him
A
long.
long time. When it came time to feeding Ian didn't want to be. He didn't want to do it on himself. It was like he was dependent on me for everything. If I went to the restroom, I had to reassure him. Sometimes the door was open. Obviously, you couldn't see certain things. I'm like, I'm in the restroom. I had to reassure him. He was dependent on me for everything.
Okay.
For water, when he got older. As far as moving, you put him there, you came back, he was right there in that spot. He didn't move. It was like he had no ambition to do anything. But when it came time for sleep, it was the weirdest thing. No matter how long or big he was, he would always go back into that same fetal position. And I started inquiring from the doctors. I'm like, that's not normal. Oh, it's okay. No, that's not normal. And then I start looking at the other kids in the family, and I start noticing what they would do at different milestones. Ian, he would be the loving, beautiful, dark-skinned baby boy. He would come right back and he'll look at me. Whenever I did something, I would talk him through everything, and Ian would just go right back in that fetal position. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to assume. I don't want to think. Even I knew something was wrong. I started talking to Mama Smith, and she started talking to and telling me certain things. I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to get him tested.
So is the process of having a child tested for autism, is that a matter of like visual, mental stimulation testing, or, physical, not just a blood draw? It's something that has to be detected in pattern and motor skills and things of that nature. So it's a process.
It is quite a process.
Okay.
And it's like, during that time, Ian had been, I think he went through 19 or 20 febrile seizures.
Yeah.
It got to the point that whenever he had a cold, I got nervous
Yeah.
because I want to say, oh my God, it got to the point that 2 a.m, the ambulance would be called, or I would have him, he and Ephraim and Ian shared room together, and I couldn't like keep my door closed, like, like certain things, whatever. It always was ajar. And Ephraim was like, Mama, he's having it again. I'm like, call the ambulance. And I would get him, I would hold him because he's having another seizure. It got to the point, it was so many seizures, so many things that was going on. Just a simple wind blow, he would get sick.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, with him being not verbal,
Mhm.
that also concerned me. The food choices, he was so picky.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I can't continuously give you just French fries.
Yeah.
I can't give you certain tater chips or Doritos.
Okay.
When I learned that he did have, that he was autistic and that he was on the spectrum, that's when I started paying attention to the eating habits.
Okay.
And I said, wait a minute. If I give him Doritos, he acts for a certain way. If I give him pizza, he acts a certain way. If I put particular cheese or order cheese, certain type of cheese, he acts a certain way. So I started stripping everything from him. And everybody in the family thought I had lost my mind. She has lost her mind.
Yeah.
No, I was finding my mind. I
Mhm.
fell in love with my son. And during the course of that time, that's when Ian started to become who he is today. You
Okay.
can't allow them to eat any and everything
Mhm.
because food will alters their mood.
Yeah, it's a chemical.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It's a chemical imbalance.
Balance. Yes.
You can't allow them to have certain dyes in their
Mhm.
in their possession because that also does it. And then at that particular time, I started give him Zelolites. Started putting drops in his water. He would get mad at me. I said, "Okay, we're gonna do it together."
Mhm.
You know. So I would put the Zelolites in. I'm like, "Gotta drink it." And he's like, "Mom," I said, "Drink it." The more he drank, the more Ian started to make eye contact with
Mhm.
me. Ian started to look at me, and I said, "Ian," I said, "Oh," tears started flowing.
Mhm.
And at that point in time, we started walking more. The more we walked, the more we communicated. Ian started giving me hugs, but not just for the sake of hugging. He started to actually connect with me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Ian, would you like so and so?" He would say yeah, nay. He'll say no, yes, no, and then I'm like, "Ian, we're not gonna go back and forth. Do you want this or do you want that?" "Oh, well, good." And so we will communicate. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not where, like I said, where I would love for him to be.
Mhm.
But from where he came from,
Mhm.
my baby is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely becoming, Ian is so unique. He's becoming the person that God has allowed him to become.
Amen.
And I've never met a person on the spectrum as GQ'd as myself. I miss the match quite a bit.
She
And I
told
don't have a
me.
problem saying that.
I-
I feel it's so crazy. I'm like, Ian, let's go to the stove. He would come dressed up. I'm like, okay, we don't have to be dressed up.
3-piece suit.
Yeah, to go to the store. And I feel bad. I'm like, dog, I just got. And
Yeah.
I mean, everything has to match. And before you come out that room, Ian is like, "Black shoes, please." I'm like, "Ian, you have black shoes, black shoes." So I have to go looking for those black shoes that he wants.
Mhm.
He has those certain socks that has to match. He has the shirt, the pants, everything is GQ. And where I'm coming out the house, Mitch Mac, just going to the store.
Mhm.
And Ian is looking at me like this. My other son is like, he's always matching.
Do him and your oldest son still
Best
have that?
Oh, they
so
best
they still have
friends.
that
They
connection.
best friends.
When they were younger, and you said that your son was telling you he be talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think it was because his brother was able to come down to his level?
Yes.
Whereas as parents, we're always trying to get the children to come up to the level we want them to be at.
Mhm.
But his brother,
Right there.
right there with him. And so that's how he was able to open up more.
Yeah.
And then you had that aha moment, that tape recorder.
I'm telling you, it blew me away. And every so often, I actually watch it
Uh-huh.
because they were talking about octopus. It was like octopus. I'm like,
Mhm.
what? Yeah. It blew me away.
Uh-huh.
And I look at the videos because I recently lost my phone. Let me shift for a second. And I said, Ian, let me borrow your phone. It was my old phone. I gave it to him. And I looked through the videos, and Ian took all these photos and all these pictures of himself smiling and talking. And I'm like, what the GQ? He's turned to the side, got the head. I mean, and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, wow.
So with that recording, when you heard it, you knew
I knew.
it was something there. It was something in there. that just gave you more motivation to try to coax it out. I know as a mom, you want what's best for your child anyway, but you was like you say, you told your other son he can't talk, he ain't talk. But how did that, as a mom, how did that make you feel?
It motivated me to become more of an advocate for him, to make sure that he reached whatever level he wants to reach.
Okay.
I became more of a best friend. I became more of an advocate than what he realized. I now, whenever I see a mom or I recognize the signs of a kid walking a certain way or hear that kid, I'm like, oh, okay. And I would say something if I hear that mom getting frustrated, it's okay, you're not alone. You know how many times a woman or a guy's turned around, gave me a high five or something like that, because I recognize, I said, we're that way as well. They're like, what? I say, yeah. So and give my 5. And it's like, what is your name? Or something like that. And then he would smile and we'll keep walking. But so it gave me more of an incentive to fight for people like Ian. So I really, I'm telling you, this whole situation has definitely made me grow up.
Yeah.
To be honest.
You mentioned that he's attend Riverside.
West Side High.
West Side? Okay.
Yes,
do you feel that the schools support parents with kids with autism?
The program that he's in?
Then?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
I was afforded the opportunity that that each location that he's gone to do a lot of research on. I mean, she's my right hand. I will call her and I will talk to her about, different schools or different teachers. And when I tell you the resources, the plethora of instructors that has helped and still helps, that still communicates, that still talks and call, that's on my Facebook. I have a lot of teachers on there. Because we not only were mother, teacher, we became friends, we became family members because of that. So yes, I've been afforded I've been afforded blessings as far as the path I've taken. And Westside High, those certain instructors that I've been able to be in tune to, yes, ma'am.
How has it been with him going to school and, with children? Children can be cruel. How has it been? Have you all had any situations that you all had to deal with, or as a whole, the community and the schools and the students have been supportive of Ian?
We had one incident, and from that incident, I realized that both boys could not attend the same school together, and that was at Sally B.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily Ian, but it was the way one of the students looked at him. And his brother, I'm not going to say ran through, but his brother got in trouble because he came to his aid.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I said, they're never going to be in the same school together. But now, even grown, he's no longer in school. But from there, I realized that they're going to be best friends. And I also, through all of that, I kind of wondered, I was like, Lord, let them be close. Because it went through a period, any sibling.
Yes,
They fight.
They
fight.
Oh my God.
They're fighting.
Oh,
They are fighting.
Jesus. I mean, they were serious.
They were fighting.
And I was like, Lord, they need to, I want them to always be together in a room, but at the same time, I realized that they needed to grow up. And that kind of worried me. I was like, well, how is Ian going to be by himself? But the moment I separated them, it was like a whole different Ian. He would smile, give you a hug, and say, okay, bye. He would close the door. I'm like, are you for real? I felt some sort of way. Because I'm like, this is mine. You mine.
He had
And
his space.
And so I think it was more of me having an adjustment issue because I'm like, Ian, this is mom. Love you, mom. Love you. And he would hold my hand. And he would give me a kiss. And he would shove me out the door and close it. You know how that made me feel? I'm like, Ian, but I'm mom. He's like, love you, mom. And he would hug me and still shove me and close the door.
Okay.
And I'm like, I felt some sort of way. I called her and told her, I'm like, I just, And then I would peep back in there. And it's doing like this, smiling, playing on YouTube, playing his drums or playing with the guitar. it's like a whole different end.
I was going to ask you, like, with you saying he's had a couple jobs and he's working now, what does Ian like to do, like, with his money? Like, do he have any hobbies? Is he a gamer? Do he want to go places? What is it that he likes to do with his own personal passion?
I want to say he doesn't necessarily like to spend the money unless you go to Dollar Tree and you go into the toy area, and he loves Play-Doh.
He loves Play-Doh.
Oh, is it because of sensory?
It is.
It's just a sensory, but even growing up, when you used to go into Ian's room, Ian has the cleanest room in the house.
Oh my God. Yes.
All his shoes are going to be lined up. His bed is going to be made. His Play-Doh is going to be lined up, and it's going to be stacked. Everything is going to be neat and in order. Ian is neat and in order, and he does everything systematic. It is a neat and order way.
When you was talking about that, like the way he dressed and how he wants a specific black shoe and how he has everything, is that like a form of like, has he been diagnosed with OCD, or is OCD on the spectrum?
It's just the way their mind navigates things. Because a child who has autism, they don't see the same way that we do. Yeah. I'll give you an instance. When Ian was little, he was a baby. He was like maybe 3-4 years old, and I had this picture frame, and it had my initial on it, and it had an Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Ian turned his head and said, "You." Most children can't do that, not at 3 or 4 years old. In his mind, they have a way to manipulate things, to see it differently from the way you do it. Ian can break stuff and put it back together, and you can't figure out how to do it. At my mom's house, Ian figured out how to take the arm off of the recliner, and we couldn't recline it because we didn't know how to put it back on. So we said, "Ian, come fix the chair." Ian come right back in, put it right back in the chair worked. We could never figure it out. So their mind and their brain processes things a totally different way than you see it. So you see this kid might look like he's doing things a little different, but his mind processes it. When she said Ian could read, we was like, okay, he could read, but then you realize, oh, wait a minute, he could read, because he was reading stuff. I had something, it was like margarita, such and such. I say, ooh, he could read. So you had to start putting things back. You didn't expect a child his age to be able to read as well as he could read. And you'll be like, oh, I was like, Keena, I had such, because Ian started reading all this information. I was like, my baby kid read. So it's just really fascinating how his mind processes things, how he develops, how he goes through things, how he sees things, and you think it's things that he has forgotten. He doesn't forget anything. Like my mom's deceased, my stepdad's deceased. When I ask him, he'll see a picture. My stepdad called him a name. He see the picture and calls the name that my stepdad called him. He'll see my mama. I say, who is that? Grandma Rosemary Smith. He calls her whole entire name. So you think he's forgotten, but you ask him, Ian, who is this? He will tell you exactly who that person is. So I'm very happy and proud for Ian, the way that he is and the way that he's growing, because he's a very sociable, he's very loving, he's very huggy, he's very affectionate. He called me on the phone and we have conversations. Hey, Auntie. Hey, Ian. How was school? School was fine, Auntie. Did you have a good day? Auntie, I had a good day. So she's allowing him to communicate. He calls and talks to me. I just told her the other day, hey, I got a phone call in 2 weeks. Hey, I haven't got a phone call in 2 weeks. So he'll probably be calling like, hey, Auntie, how are you? So it's just amazing that the process, the progress, the development of how he's grown, how he's evolved, how it's just the whole family loves on Ian. Her family loves on Ian, her family church, her mom and dad. Everybody loves on Ian. So Ian is not a child that doesn't feel love. So that's why he wants to love and he reciprocates the love. And you just have to see him in and say, hey, let's pray. So when my baby say, let's pray, that means everybody finna grab hands and we're finna pray. So he's raised around people who show him love, who show him support, who show him affection. Sakina does excellent with my baby. She really does excellent with Auntie Vic, man. That's his nickname.
Let me
Auntie
ask
Vic,
you
man.
this. What is some of the misconceptions about autism that you wish people would understand?
They're not dumb.
They're not dumb.
They're not retarded.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart. They're probably the most smartest people in the world.
And it's amazing because, we've done shows on mental health and we've had doctors come on the show. And one of the things that kind of struck me when we were especially talking about mental health when we had Michelle Kennedy on here is I believe a lot of people probably fell through the cracks years ago because of what the medical field didn't know about autism or how to diagnose people or how to treat people that have those conditions. I can only imagine the number of people that was institutionalized when all they needed was just or a mother that was aware.
That's right.
And I think early diagnosis, because once we found out that Ian is autistic, automatically he was going physical therapy, speech therapy, behavior therapy, and it wasn't just her taking him. My mom would take him. My mom took him to a lot of appointments, so it's like the whole family has to check in and help. And Ian was so good. Soon as you took him in the office, he knew automatically what doors to go to, who he's going to see. But she started so young with him. Yeah. I think starting so young with him, starting at 2 or 3, he had all these doctors at 2 or 3, and he had gone to them for a long time because he was fighting so many things, especially those seizures. Those seizures did a lot. The seizures were very hard for everybody to overcome because he had his first one. He was 6 months.
Yeah, and matter of fact, it was
my brother's birthday.
Yeah,
6 months old.
Well, listen. Before we wrap up, as aunt and mom, I want to ask you both: what are you all's future hopes and dreams for Ian?
I want Ian to achieve whatever dream he wants to, and it's my prayer that I'll be right beside him.
Yeah,
pushing him.
That's good. What about you, ladies?
That's the question too.
As an auntie, I just want Ian to be successful, for him to be happy, for him to be treated well, and for him to have a circle of family and friends that love him and support him even after we're gone. That's what I want.
I wanted to ask you, what advice could you give a parent that has a child that's autism that's kind of overwhelmed?
Don't shut yourself up in a box and realize that you're not alone. It's a large number of people out there that's willing to accept, but you can't shut yourself up in a box.
Right.
And I want to let them know that sibling, those brothers and those sisters and those aunts and that uncle, because his brother is his best advocate. His brother is his best, when I say his best friend, Ephraim graduated from high school. I was like, well, Ephraim, what are you going to go to school? You going away? He say, Auntie, I'm not leaving my brother. He say, I'm never leaving my brother. So you have to have that kind of sibling that says, I'm going to protect my brother and I'm going to be my brother's best friend. Now, do we aggravate his brother?
Yes.
And it's so funny. He does stuff to Ian. And I'm like, Ephraim, leave him alone. I saw him. Ian say, hey, man, don't make me beat you up.
I mean, just like that.
Like, hey, man, I told you to leave me alone. Don't make me beat you up. You keep going. So
it's the weirdest relationship. But something, I'm going to end by saying this. Sometimes I kind of get jealous of them. I'm like, just going to the movie. I mean, I'm home. You could ask me. Well, it's just a brother thing. I'm like, I call him, when are y'all coming home? But she's right. It's all about that connection, that family person that you feel connected to. And I give a lot of props to him.
All right. So, there you have it.
So with that, this was Sakina Grayson on having a child with autism. My nephew, Ian Jacob Reed Jones, he is 16 years old. He's been living with autism. So if you have a family member, a loved one, a child, just don't forget that there are people out there who love them. Don't lose hope. Don't lose focus. Because if you focus on them and give them love and prayer and have that balance, something will turn out positive. There's something positive. There's something good. So with that being said, Sakina, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
definitely thank you for sharing your story. Hey, when you're on the road, please, 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 if you see the trucks, 18-wheelers, be mindful and be respectful because Spicy Red is on the road. So we need you to be careful and be safe. When you're thinking of the waterways, this is Nikki Nicole. She is definitely our tugboat queen. And then if you get a call about your kids, this is the last week. Y'all make sure that y'all have y'all kids together for the summer because guess what? It's on you. We've done our 180 days. The next 60 days are on you. So with that being said, thank you for looking at Divas of the Round Table. Thank you and good night.